greater Philadelphia area. This is Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB, 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. She's Stacey Mitchell. We've got Gabe behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're streaming live every single week on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. And we've got a special guest here. We got Divya in from Divine Float Spa out in Lionville. You can visit them at divinefloatspa.com. We're going to be going over her business, self-care, which realtors, you should really pay attention to this topic. We'll be going over that in our third segment here. But first, Divya, thanks for coming on, by the way.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime. And feel free to chime in if you got any feedback on what we're talking about here. I know it's a little real estate heavy, the first couple segments. We're going to start with another one of these things that have come out about how it's a horrible time to transact. It's kind of the headline here. So Fortune Magazine. So you guys all heard of Fortune Magazine and Fortune.com, right? So Fortune Magazine and Corelogic, they have come up with an interactive map of the likelihood of home price movement across the U.S., and they do it by region. And you know, for example, we're in Philadelphia, Wilmington, South Jersey. So, and they show these different map color codes of very likely to see a price decline or not so likely. So what do you guys think about this map that's out there? And hopefully on the when we reproduce the video here, we can actually put a picture of this up. But what do you think about this just at first glance when you see this here?
Well, when I was looking at this map, well, first when I was reading the article, my curiosity was, is it a decline of home prices or home values? Because it really didn't, it makes you believe that there's going to be a decline in home prices. Well, it says possibility, could be.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very speculation here. But I think there's a lot more to this than just what, you know, the heading says. Again, I think this is a lot of clickbait. People are going to just click on here. Odds of falling home prices. And to what percentage and to what degree? Like, this leads people to believe that there's going to be a major shift in home prices and prices are going to drop. I deal with this every day when I talk to folks. You know, I'm going to wait for the prices to drop. Drop by how much? What are you waiting for?
Right.
Are they going to drop by 100,000, 50,000, 10,000? What would satisfy somebody waiting for prices to drop? So I think that a lot of this has to do, is kind of on that same line. But if you look in our market, in our area, we're in that deep, bright red there that says very high chance of a price dip. And again, I just would like more information about what they're talking about, a price dip.
Right. I thought it was interesting. The lone little purple area, so that would be for medium likelihood in the area amongst all the red. Lancaster, my hometown. So I'm like, I wonder why. Like, it's just like interesting when you look at the map. Like, why, if everything else is surrounded by like red, like I don't know.
Why is that one? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that, you know, if you just look at headlines or see some of these things, you're not really doing yourselves any favor as a buyer, because, you know, by thinking like, okay, I'm gonna hold out for this drop that's coming. Well,
right.
What is that going to look like? Is that going to happen? Is it going to be more that things are just like leveling a bit, or and with interest rates going up and everything, which we predict to continue to happen, you know, this could be some false hope for buyers thinking that they're going to have this great opportunity coming up.
Yeah, I look at this as almost irresponsible would be a nice word to put out there, because if you read this article, it says there's a very high chance in the greater Philadelphia area. So let's look at our market. And I've been through a market that actually did see a decline, and Philadelphia was one of the more stable areas of the country compared to Florida, Ohio, California, Arizona, Nevada, which were those high foreclosure states, and all of California is red. So I guess that makes me feel a little better. Same with a lot of Florida and Arizona and Nevada and parts of Ohio. So they're a little higher risk. And what's surprising to me is this data came from Corelogic, which is a very well-known They're very realistic, balanced in terms of their assessment of what's happening with housing. And they assess these factors, including income growth projections, unemployment forecasts, consumer confidence, debt-to-income ratios, affordability, mortgage rates, inventory levels. Philadelphia is pegged at a 70% chance or higher of a price dip. But then the article goes on to say that Corelogic predicts national home prices are going to rise another 3.2%.
Right.
So
I was just going to say that.
I don't understand how they're coming up with this map and where things got lost in translation. Mm-hmm. I'll take it one step further that our friends over at Keeping Current Matters, and we did a video about this actually today if you want to check it out on our YouTube channel, the 2 questions buyers should be asking themselves right now. Where do they think home prices are headed? And where do they think interest rates are headed? And if you look at the chart that KCM put together, right now we're looking at between December to December, roughly a 9.75% year-over-year increase in home prices. They're predicting a 2.56% increase in 2023, 2.66 in 2024, 3.66 in 2025, and 4.01 in 2026. And that comes from the Home Price Expectation Survey from Pulseonomics, which is a survey of national experts in economy, or national economists, real estate experts, investment, and market strategists. So I don't see how there's a 70+% chance of prices coming down. I mean, this is borderline malpractice by Fortune Magazine here. That because a buyer sees this, they're just going to wait, and no one's actually saying this is the likelihood. I don't understand what they're talking about here. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and I don't know if I'm not reading something right or what. I mean, but that's how I'm interpreting this.
Right. I mean, I went back and reread this more than once because at the end of the article, I was more confused than ever. I was just like, wait. So what is it saying? And then I went back in again. And then especially as, you're reading the other things that are coming out there, it doesn't add up.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they do say Corelogic predicts national home prices are poised to rise another 3.2% between August 2022 and August 2023. And then they totally contradict it with the chart that says, these are the areas that the values are going to fall. So it's articles like this that really make it more difficult for us because we're dealing with, when we talk to buyers and they're very concerned, first of all, about the interest rates. And then they're getting this message that prices are going to drop. Home prices are going to drop. Wait. That, to me, it could really be the big difference in a buyer's ability to buy. Mm-hmm. So if they put it off another year, another 2 years, because they're waiting for these price drops, which again, I need to know on what level are these prices going to drop. That could cost them higher interest rates, more money they're shelling out for rent or whatever their current living situation is. And we all know that rent is 100% interest at this point. Mm-hmm. So for me and for the people that I work with on a daily basis, I really don't like these articles, but it's all over. It's not just in these articles that come out. It's all over the television. It's all over everybody's social media feeds. They're bombarded with the market is, collapsing. The house prices are going to drop. It's all this hair on fire stuff.
Do you think there's correlation between the stock market and the real estate market? Because I know that's been going up and down.
Goes up and down. Yeah, that's been headed down. And that's more concern. That's a lot more concern for the people that we work with every day. Mm-hmm. So they see the stock market dropping, and they hear the analysts on TV saying that things are looking bad, we're in a recession, which we are, but not every recession really affects the housing market in a very negative way. So when people are getting bombarded with all this negativity on a national scale, in our local market, it can be very different. So, and that's what we have to supply to these people, the facts in our local market. We're kind of like in a really nice protected area. Mm-hmm. We don't see a whole lot of the changes that are going on. Yes, it's changing. That is true. But to the extent in some other markets, it's not as drastic. We still have a very competitive
That makes
market.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we still have multiple offer situations, over asking price, waiving inspections.
That was
Still
going to
very
be my
competitive.
question for you was, in the past couple of years, it's been a buyer's market.
Well, it's been a
Or
seller's market. Yes.
Sorry, seller's market.
Yep.
And you're able to get very high price.
Yes.
Now, is it shifting? Are you seeing that trend? Is the inventory less? Are you seeing any of that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely still seeing low inventory. We're seeing, in the term side of things, we are starting to see more offers get accepted with some inspections and things like that in play, but not all are. I mean, we're still in many cases seeing multiple offers, waived inspections, over ask. So it's still, I mean, it hasn't shifted to where I've had buyers who a year, 2 years ago were like, I'm going to wait for prices to dip. Well, they've only continued to go up, and now interest rates
went up.
for where they were at one point in time, like tripled. So
Yep. So if you wait, it could ultimately cost you more.
Yeah. I
In
can
many
see that.
different areas. Yes.
It's already cost a lot of people more
Yes.
because of articles like this. And I think these are great questions because the consumer standpoint is, if you ask me about something else, not real estate related, I'd have the same questions and I would go to an expert. A lot of consumers don't do that and they get influenced by all this noise that's out there. And that's where we have an obligation as real estate agents. At least I view our team as having that obligation. I can't speak for other people that we've got to get the word out because it's costing people money. It's costing them more money a month and in their net worth and in their wealth building strategies, which is a real problem for a lot of folks because a lot of folks rely on housing to help them with retirement, to help them put their kids through school sometimes. And there's just so much bad information out there. I mean, this article literally contradicts itself in the second paragraph. And
right.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think that they're trying to explain is maybe that's a drop from the absolute peak they could have sold their home for. But even now, to your point, we're still seeing inventory just barely above a month's supply in Chester, Delaware, Montgomery counties. Philadelphia, we've seen a big jump and to about a 3.5 month supply. That's about 33% from where it was earlier in the year. So there are more homes, but it's still so low. There's a supply and demand issue here.
Yep.
Until you get to 6 months, you're not going to see buyers have that sort of even negotiating power unless they have a strategic agent working for them, identifying those opportunities in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we've explained how bad we think this is. I want to flip this a little bit because I think there is some concern what the Fed is going to do next because the Fed has basically come out and said, like, hey, we're making housing a commodity now that we're going to control. That's kind of how I viewed. Should have seen the fierce eye roll Stacey Mitchell just gave me. Not me, but the comment. So the reason I bring this up is that the Fed is now looking at housing as a commodity they can control. So Housing Wire and Logan Matashami over there, really well-informed guy. Love his take on this stuff. Last week, they reported that the Bureau of Labor Statistics had 263,000 new jobs were added in September. And a lot of people think that kind of growth is good news in the economy. It's actually the exact opposite of what the Fed wants to see because the unemployment rate is back down to 3.5%. And for whatever reason, the Fed wants unemployment to go higher.
Yeah.
This I don't understand. They want people to stop spending money. It's not good for anyone to be unemployed.
Right.
We were forced to be unemployed by the state,
Which was
for
horrible.
2 months.
Horrible.
I couldn't deal with it, and it was and we're trying to help people, and there's all these things happening. So this is a major problem, and Logan points this out in his article that it's the exact opposite of what the Fed wants to do because their goal to put Americans out of work hasn't yet happened, and this is a pretty fierce take on this, which I appreciate. So then he goes on to say that because there's more jobs getting added to the to the market and the labor market's still creating jobs, that there's only two data lines that he really focuses on when it looks at economic expansion and to fight this recession. And I'm going to try to break this down pretty clearly here because there's a lot of economic jargon in this. But the short of it is the unemployment rate is still very low. And we're not close to a significant job loss recession. And that's one of the things the Fed's kind of banking on here. They want this to happen. And he said that he's targeting a level of 323,000 in this data as the inflection point, meaning that that's when the Fed's going to start to pivot. So if they see that many new jobs get added, the Fed may change their strategies, which all they've been doing is just raising rates. That's been their only strategy here. And to go further, and then I want to get your take on this, ladies, because I know I'm giving all the economic stuff here. He asks, is there a way to prevent a recession? And one is that rates fall to get the housing sector back in line. And that would mean mortgage rates going, into like the 5% or less range. And that can happen with a weaker economy and better mortgage-backed securities. Or the growth rate of inflation falls, which is the Fed's really only goal right now. And that seems like that's all they're concerned with. And inflation's in that 4 or 5% range. They want to get it down to 2. And the Fed stops hiking rates and reverses course like it did in 2018, which they did the same thing. So I don't see either of those happening, to be super honest. So I don't think we can get past that. Do you think any of this is going to help kind of ease the concerns of consumers that are out there, seeing that despite everything the Fed's doing, the job market's still growing?
Well, honestly, I don't think a lot of people have a lot of faith in the Fed at this point. That's just my opinion, and what I hear out there. So I'm not really sure, but I think that people are really concerned about what hits them most, and that's the rising costs of everything. So, some people might not even follow what the Fed's doing, or what they're talking about. They follow what goes on in their day-to-day lives. That's what they follow.
What's the unemployment rate in here in the article?
So they're saying that it's down to 3.5%.
Okay. As a business owner, we're always hiring. Everybody's hiring. It should go down further.
I agree with that.
So, what would they do to raise it?
They want people to become unemployed.
Right. So would they eliminate? Would they?
They're
eliminate
hoping that
jobs?
companies eliminate jobs. So
So mortgage companies, I mean,
Yes.
we've seen mortgage companies being firing people left and right. I mean, real estate companies have done it too. Not ours, but a lot of these other big companies. And they're looking because, hey, we're putting pressure on these sectors of the market. And real estate makes up 17% of the GDP. So that's a big number. It's more than energy. So they're looking at that. But then the flip side of this is when people get out of real estate, especially the sales side, they usually don't get back into they do something else.
Right.
So that's one point here. But they're trying to get people in the unemployment line. I mean, that's exactly what's happening here.
Saying there has to be a lot of pain, meaning people unemployed, for them to, for the rates to be adjusted downward.
But
so
then,
it's kind of counterintuitive.
And if their point of all of it is then so that people aren't spending as much money, I don't think that with unemployment you get the amount that you would have made had you been working, depending on the case. But I mean, wouldn't majority of these people then collect unemployment?
So this dropped on September 30th. This is on CBS News. Chairman Powell made it amply, very clear that the benchmark rate was 4.4% of the end of the year. That's what they were looking at for unemployment, even if it causes a recession. That's what they want to do, and it's not getting there. I mean, we're constantly looking for good people because one of the things that happened after the pandemic is a lot of people, they don't want to work on the terms that they used to, and we're a little behind where jobs would have been had COVID-19 not happened. I think that's more but bringing unemployment up is not going to help. So, and there is a little bit of a softening of the labor market, according to Powell, and they want to really just shoot for that number. It was 3.7%, and it came down. I mean, that's crazy to me, and that's about an additional 1.2 million folks losing their jobs. That's what they're aiming for.
Wow. So I know, which is kind of counterintuitive. But also during COVID, there was a major shift in the way people employ themselves, I think. You have a lot of small online stores, so people might not be in these conventional jobs, so to speak, but they're making their own money in different ways. People are very creative. So when somebody, because COVID shut down and they couldn't go to work, they started online coaching or online training programs or selling goods online. So have they shifted who their tracking methods as far as unemployment is concerned?
Right.
I doubt it. But so their metrics may be somewhat off.
Well, and this is people that file for unemployment. There's other people that are unemployed that don't file. So that's how they track the data. And the idea behind this, and I don't agree with this, but this is their strategy, is that the Fed thinks with an additional couple million people out of work, those families are going to cut back on spending, and that could cause inflation to go down. But I don't think 2 million people in the U.S. are going to be able to have that kind of impact that they want, and that's really where the challenge is. So, for price stability to happen, it's going to have slower employment growth and maybe and a higher unemployment rate is what they're saying. But the flip side is, I think when you talk about, and Divya, you bring up a good point, we're constantly looking for people and trying to hire. There's some people that don't want to work on your terms anymore. They want to, I want to work virtually. I want to work from home and I want to do this way. And some businesses, it doesn't cut it. I mean, you have an in-person spa, right? Like that I can't imagine a lot of that would fly for you.
There are opportunities out there. You can do marketing, which can be virtual. So, we're also thinking outside the box at this point too, is how do we work with the market and the people and their what they want and what they don't want. Yeah.
And I think that's a good point. I mean, there are some opportunities there. And, like with our agents like Sarah and Stacey, once we get them up and running, it's like, hey, we got a couple meetings, go sell houses. And I think it's a little different strategy there. But there's some companies I think they have to be in person.
In there, yeah.
But so many people are really picky about this now too.
Yeah.
I found that I'm only looking to work remote, and that can work. It just may not work at certain companies.
Well, that's one part of it. Another thing that I've noticed in the industry is that before it was $12 an hour was good. Now even 15 doesn't cut it.
Right.
So we're raising the prices, right? The cost to do business, but then we're also having inflation, and then we're having trouble trying to sell the services at the price that now we have to sell it for. So there's a lot of, I think through all of this, I can just see small businesses getting impacted too in a lot of ways.
Yes.
We've seen that hiring as well. I mean, I think that the salary expectations for people, especially our W-2 employees, are much higher than they were 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
There's no question.
I think there's a whole segment of population that isn't going back to work either. Since COVID, they're out of the workforce altogether.
Well, and think about like a mom, right? Like you have a baby and things change, and they're like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. And I mean, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying this is what happens in life, and I think some people just said, you know what, this may be a better move for me, and we can make things work. So I mean, there are life changes that affect that as well.
But I also wonder, because this is just one part of the data, right? This is unemployment data. What about disabilities? Is there increase in that? Are there other fundings that are happening that the government is providing that people are actually relying on? So where else is the funding coming from? And, is there a rise in that? So it looks like 3.5% here, but it may be more.
Right.
Well, it always is. It's always documented to be higher because some people just don't. They're not going to file for that. They're going to go find another job. They're going to do something else. And then there's also people that get denied for unemployment, which is a whole other factor. Just because they apply for it doesn't, and they quit their job, but they think they're going to be it's a weird dynamic. So knowing all this, as we kind of try to wrap this up here. So we have Fortune.com and Corelogic saying there's a 70+% chance prices go down. Knowing that a good jobs report doesn't help here, even though you think it would logically. Where do you see the market going in the next 6 months as we head into the fourth quarter and Q1? Is Fortune.com going to look like a bunch of idiots for putting this article out? What do you guys think on this real quick, and then we'll take a break and come right back?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Fortune's off here. I think we're going to continue to see home prices increase, not at the same rapid pace that we had seen previously. So it's not going to be a dip, but it may almost feel like it if it just levels, But I think that we're going to continue to see them tick up. I think we're going to continue to see interest rates tick up. And I think we're going to continue to see a competitive market.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
I would agree with that too, especially in our area. It's all about supply and demand.
Exactly.
And we have really big demand.
Yep.
And supply is less. So, it's going to balance out. You're right. You're going to see a little dip, but it's not a big significant dip for where we are.
I agree. We're going to see the rate of appreciation drop.
Whoa. Yeah.
And that's going to be it. Prices aren't going down.
Right.
It's not happening. I don't care what anyone says. We've been saying this for, I feel like 2 years now since we started the show, Sarah.
Yeah.
And when Stacey came on, so Fortune.com, poor job here. And that's me being nice. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about something that Tomo Mortgage is doing. I find this super interesting about what they're doing with appraisals next on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
Buying a home or already own one? We can help. I am Kevin Hamill from Alliance's Insurance Agency. If you haven't reviewed your policies in the last 3 years, now's the time. New home buyers, there are a number of ways that we can help you get to that settlement table. Call us to find out more at 610-816-0043, extension 3, or visit our website, alliancesinsurance.com. Don't forget the S, it's for savings.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit TomToole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now, here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestateScholarshipProgram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line at TomToole.com. That's TomToole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
For the best local mortgage service and great rates on your money, look no further than Mortgage America. We've been operating in the greater Philadelphia area for 40 years with a focus on smooth, easy access to home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upsizing or downsizing, or just refinancing, we have programs for you. We also have closing cost assistance programs and access to subsidized interest rates. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. To learn more, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000. We always have a person available to take your call with around-the-clock human service. Purchase your home with the personalized, local service you find at Mortgage America.
Mortgage America is an equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
Welcome back to Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. She's Stacey Mitchell. And we have Divya here from Divine Float Spa in Lionville. And you can visit them. The website is divinefloatspa.com. And we've got Gabe behind the camera. All of us, with the exception of Divya, work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're streaming live every week on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. So, wanted to talk about this. This kind of went under the radar a little bit, and I would say I was remiss in not bringing this up, that Tomo Mortgage. So, if you don't know Tomo Mortgage, they were founded by Greg Schwartz, the former president of Zillow. So, he knows something about real estate, started some big companies. They recently came out and they made this announcement at the Tom Ferry Summit in August that they launched a solution for the dreaded appraisal gap. So for those of you who don't know what an appraisal gap is, which one of you two would like to explain? Because we've dealt with this many times.
So it's if you put an offer in on a home and it's not a cash purchase, if you are financing, the loan to value ratio has to line up. So if the home does not appraise at the amount that you offered or above, then whatever the difference there is between what it appraises at and what you offered, you would be responsible for making up in cash at the closing table, and it cannot, like, they're only going to finance it based off of the appraisal amount.
Or you're back to renegotiating and
Right.
asking for the seller to do a price drop. And good luck in this market today.
Right.
Especially if it was a multiple offer situation and the seller has other offers that they could have considered.
So that's absolutely correct. And this has been a big problem because prices were accelerating so fast. I mean, you're talking about 1% a month. The comps couldn't catch up
Right.
to what was happening, even though, in my view, the home's always worth what a buyer is willing to pay, not
Right.
what you can prove on paper.
Right.
So Tomo came out with this program, and they're definitely a startup company. They've been around for a few years. And I'm not going to quote their mission exactly, but from getting to know Greg, seeing him speak, he basically has come out and said, hey, getting a mortgage is really painful for a lot of buyers, and there's so many issues that come up. We want to fix that. So originally it was just closing on time, which may sound like not a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's a huge
being
deal.
able to close on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now they have this Tomo Appraisal Coverage, and the product will protect home buyers from having to bring more cash to close when appraisals come in low with the same rate, cash to close, and monthly payment guaranteed. What do you two think about this?
That's cool. Now, it also goes on to say, I think that they
There are
need
some
to-
conditions, yes.
Like, they are like, I guess before you submit an offer, they're actually reviewing it. So they're probably running numbers that maybe not allowing you to qualify for this if you put in an offer that definitely wouldn't appraise, is my guess. Like, I'm guessing they're trying to keep that to like a smaller window of the possibility of it not appraising, is kind of how I was taking it.
So I haven't been through one of these. What I do know is that they have an underwritten pre-approval. So basically a pre-commitment. So they know that everything's guaranteed except the appraisal. Because when you get a pre-commitment, it's a commitment to loan. And before they make the offer, they got to put 10% down. And they work with a Tomo partner agent. So a realtor who knows what they're doing. Easier said than done finding these people. We all can agree on that, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
Totally.
And they run the address through a verification process with Tomo before placing the offer. So they're doing, to me, this is business due diligence. I don't
Right.
think it's anything unreasonable, because how many times have you seen it where these buyers come in with these astronomical offers and then the deal blows out? And
Right.
I've seen buyers just get cold feet doing this. So I do like that there's a third party control here. I don't know what that's like, but I'm sure they have some sort of conditions around this.
Right. Like, I'm guessing they're not going to be happy about, giving $60,000 to cover an appraisal gap. Like, I my guess would be they're going to kind of like do their due diligence, run the numbers, guesstimate what they think it would probably appraise at, and then allow only allow you to go up so much
Certain
over
amount.
that would be my guess. But
That would be my guess also. And or if it doesn't meet that criteria, then the buyer would have to kick in a certain amount.
right, like, I
towards
wonder
it.
if maybe you'd be able to do, like, if you really wanted to like take advantage of this, but you found the house, like, you're like, this is it, like, I'm willing to like do whatever I need to for it. I wonder if there could be some type of setup there where you take as much as Tomo will give you for appraisal gap, and then you would kick in the rest. Or
Right. So you
I don't
had
know.
20% down.
Right.
But you could, so in essence, they would require a minimum of 10% down, but you could take that other 10% and put towards your
Yeah.
portion of that too, to
Yeah.
cover anything that Tomo wouldn't cover.
Right.
I'm,
Right.
I'm also wondering if they are correlating this with, because you can get approved for a certain amount. Let's say if I got approved for 400,000, but I'm looking at a house that's maybe 300,000, and then it got appraised to 280. Could I still get this loan and be able to pay the amount? Maybe there are other buyers that are putting bids on it, and now it's 340 is what I have to pay out of my pocket, but the bank won't pay over 280. There's the 60,000, but
Right.
I'm approved for 400,000. So that's my buying capacity.
Right.
So do they work with that at all?
That I don't know. The other conditions that we're aware of here are, and then I'm going to pull up their website in a second, is that it has to be rated the condition has to be rated by an appraiser as a C5 or C6, which basically means it can't be like beat up or in disrepair. And they have to has to be a primary residence, so you can't do this for multifamily properties. And they started doing this just about a month ago. It was September 8th is when the program launched. And they're focusing only on purchase money mortgages. They don't do refinances here. So I find that to be really, really interesting. So with that, if you go to their website and let's just it's right on there. Appraisal coverage is right there. So they talk about that you get a Tomo pre-approval. The agent runs the property address through the verification, 10% down, and they got to work with one of their agents. And that's really it. They don't explain it too much more. I'd imagine there's going to be some conditions around this because it's silly not to. However, I wonder if they're going to be considering pending sales activity or things that normal appraisers don't look at, because the appraisal process to me is kind of antiquated, where it's, oh, well, that one we can't use. I've had people say to me, we can't use that because it's a private sale. Well, it's sold.
Right.
And we don't have the information on it. I mean, this is what these appraisers do, and the appraisal industry is ripe for disruption. So I would imagine they're probably doing things a little differently than we might think. And I give them credit because I have not seen one other lender come out with this, and this has been the biggest pain point for buyers over the past 24 months.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty huge if you're a buyer and you're able to get that coverage. That's awesome.
I'm curious how this all works. Is that added into the mortgage? Is it added into the loan, or is it
keep everything the same for for closing, for
monthly payment
for? So is it just free money?
There's no free money ever.
I know.
See, my view of this is a little different, because how many times you had a buyer say, I'm not worried about the appraisal, I'm buying the house. They just verified the value, right? And then all of a sudden it makes it easier to get an appraisal the next time. So some buyers, they kind of have to bite the bullet a little bit. And the flip side is, you see these homes that are on the market 300 days, and then it sells, and the appraisal comes in $50,000 higher than what it sold for, but no one was buying the property. So these things are clearly just another opinion. It sounds like they're betting on buyer intent, and because they're they're a fintech company. It's a little different than Chase or Wells Fargo or someone like that. It says right on their website, at Tomo, we believe that the joy of owning a home should never be overshadowed by the hassle of buying one. Well said. I think they're betting on their buyers making good decisions, and they're verifying it, and they have a risk tolerance in there. That's to me what this process is.
Yeah.
So do you think this is maybe a little late to the market? Because I feel like 2 years ago would have been awesome to have this.
Yeah.
We're seeing a little less appraisal issues as of late.
Right.
And is this as prevalent as it was 6-12 months ago?
I think in our area, yes, it's still prevalent in some cases for sure. It would have been great 2 years ago. But again, nobody really had the crystal ball and knew what was going to happen, right? So, and it takes time to ramp up these programs. I'm sure it took a lot of thought and effort for them to get to this point. But now that they have it available, I sure hope that it's successful, because it can be utilized then in the future,
Right. It would be interesting to see what other, where it kind of stems out to, and who else kind of starts adding things like that into their portfolio.
This is what consumers want. They're sick of all this nonsense in these transactions. You think you get a house, and then you really don't know for 21 days, and sometimes it takes longer, and sometimes the mortgage company doesn't get back to you right away. So this is the kind of mortgage companies that are going to thrive, because right now the margins are really thin in mortgages. I mean, the refinances are basically gone. Over 65% of homeowners in the U.S. have a 4% or less mortgage rate right now. So you only have a third even eligible to get a rate. And I argue it's probably less than that where rates are right now. So if they're able to offer these kind of solutions, and knowing that inventory is lower, there's less homes selling, you don't have the data sometimes to get an appraisal. That's always been the issue with these things. It's a third-party opinion, but sometimes the house is in Chester County and the appraiser's coming from north of Bucks County, or like Buffalo, New York, like our friends from Zillow sent out on Zillow Home Loans, which is a joke. So how can they give an accurate assessment? How's that helping anybody there? So to me, this is the kind of company that's going to thrive as we move into the market that we're seeing right now, where it's a little tougher getting deals done. There's more of these issues that come up. So, and I know they are, getting into Pennsylvania and starting to expand here. So I see this as a big win for Tomo.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk all about Divine Float Spa with Divya here. Super excited to have her on. Again, it's divinefloatspa.com if you want to check them out. They're in Lionville. This is Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. We will be right back.
You shouldn't have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit TomToole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now, here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestatescholarshipprogram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
Buying a home or already own one? We can help. I am Kevin Hamill from Alliances Insurance Agency. If you haven't reviewed your policies in the last 3 years, now's the time. New home buyers, there are a number of ways that we can help you get to that settlement table. Call us to find out more at 610-816-0043, extension 3, or visit our website, alliancesinsurance.com. Don't forget the S, it's for savings.
All right. We are back on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Stacey Mitchell. She's Sarah Tymon. We've got Gabe behind the camera, and the four of us all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we've got special guest here, Divya Warble from Divine Float Spa. You can check out her company's website is divinefloatspa.com. They're located in Lionville. Divya, thanks again for coming on. Super excited to chat with you here.
Thank you for having me.
So there's a lot. I was on your website checking out the business. Valerie from our team had recommended we get in touch. Tell us your story. Tell us a little bit about your the spa, what you guys do, some of the things that you offer there, because there's like literally a menu of services, and there's a lot of great stuff to learn.
Yeah, there is. So we've been open for 7 months now, and a lot of the services that you're seeing there, they're all alternate therapy. So we've been also approved to have people use their health savings account and flex spending account, because our therapies help with a lot of things. So float therapy, if you've never tried float therapy, I would highly recommend. It's great it's 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in 10 to 12 inches of water. And when you're laying down, you're actually floating up because it's the density of Dead Sea. And it's really good for body pains, chronic pain, any kind of pains that you have in the body. The float itself is also sensory deprivation. What it means is you can actually reduce all of your 5 senses, sensory input, and it's really good for brain. It's really good for working on your mind. So anybody who's not struggling with stress right now, I guess everybody is. So if you're under stress, or if you have anxiety, depression, PTSD, any of those things, stuff on your heart, floating is just amazing. I have had so many testimonials from so many people just talking about how it helps people with so many things, because the way our body is, right? When you get a body pain, it is tied to a thought, and that thought is also tied to an emotion. As we're releasing a body pain, you're releasing that thought it's tied to, and an emotion. And what better way to do it than in a float? And it's just, I've been floating for 7+ years, and that was one of the reasons why I opened a float place.
So how long do you float for per time?
It's a 60-minute session is the minimum. It's industry standard.
Okay.
We started with 30 minutes, and we soon realized, based on customer feedback, was 30 minutes was so less because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for your body to actually relax,
Yeah.
and then your brain to go into that brain theta wave mode, and you get really good relaxation in a 60-minute session. And we've had people do 90 minutes, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So
And then
sky's the
how
limit.
on the door, like, are you still
Right.
in there?
Yeah, right. How often then do most people, like what frequency do they come in for them? Or can you be like a once and doneer?
Well, once and doneer, you're going to feel great at the end of it, but then soon enough, you're going to feel like the pressure of the world is going to hit you back, and
Right.
the stress. Of course, you can do once and done.
Right.
But if you're really trying to work on wellness, taking care of yourself, you want to at least come in once or twice a month.
Okay.
We have some regulars that come in every week.
Yeah.
So we have some athletes coming in for different things too. So sauna is another service, and I'm sorry if I'm skipping it.
No,
So
love it.
we have some athletes coming in for pre and post workout. Or there's a guy right now, he's running for a marathon.
Oh, wow.
And he's coming in doing sauna. And then a lot of times people, as a post-recovery, either do sauna or float because it really helps with a lot of things.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we have other services like red light therapy, which has been a big one. It's great for skin conditions, rosacea, any kind of skin conditions. It also helps build collagen naturally. But lately I've seen doctors actually send people there too for different things. I have this one person, she's coming in, she's getting, she had cancer, which was removed, but she's going through chemo right now. And in between her chemo sessions, she's coming in and getting red light therapy, which is just amazing because what red light therapy actually does, it is actually healing your cells at mitochondria level.
Wow.
So if you think about it, radiation will kill your cells. It's killing bad cells and good cells, and red light therapy helps heal the cells. And even for skin conditions too, right? A lot of times people will be like, "Oh my skin's looking great." It's great. Skin is your outermost organ. It will take a bit to get to that point where it looks great, but think about what's happening inside. The inside is healing. And when you feel that, yes, my inside is doing or it's getting the benefits and it's actually taken care of, and then your outside skin is glowing, there's nothing like it,
What is the recommended time for the red light therapy per session?
Red light is a 20-minute session. We recommend at least 2 times a week to start seeing benefits for it. Yeah. And then we have halotherapy as well. Lately, we've had people coming in from COVID again because, we've had past 2 months, 3 months has been another wave. So they're struggling with upper or lower respiratory conditions and sinus congestions that just doesn't seem to be going away. We've had people coming in doing halotherapy for that. So halotherapy is great for anything upper and lower respiratory conditions. That could be allergies, which is, this year was my first year where I did not have to take so many allergy pills that I used to take.
That's awesome.
So, there's a lot of benefits to that too.
So how does that halotherapy work?
So halotherapy it's pharmaceutical grade sodium chloride that gets grinded down into microbial particles. And when you're in that room, you're just breathing normally. And it's going to have you done neti pot or know about neti pot?
Yep, yeah.
Similar things, but neti pot, it's more water and salt, and you're mixing it, and it's just clearing just your nasal passage. In this case, it's pharmaceutical grade sodium chloride getting broken down into microbial particles, and you're just normally breathing in that air, and it starts to clear your passage all the way down to your throat, to your lungs. That's why it's been great for, especially with long COVID. People have been struggling with that. Nothing seems to be working. This seems to be working.
So this is a broader scale, a bigger scale of the small salt lights that you could have at home.
Yeah, I also don't know how well the salt lights work.
Right. But this is the
This is the
bigger,
real
more,
deal.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Got it. So, how did you get? Like, I mean, these are some pretty interesting therapies that you're working here, and I know you said you've been doing this yourself for 7 years. How did you decide to like expand the business though besides float? Because it sounds like there's a lot of different parts here that are really going to help people with self-care, which I think is something that just in general our society kind of avoids, and especially all the real estate agents listening. And I mean, you just don't take care of yourself. And again, if you want to get in touch with Divya, it's divinefloatspa.com. But how did you come up with this business idea? Because I think this is pretty critical here.
So my life has been all about healing and holistic methods for the past 10, 15 years. It's not on the website, but I come from a 15 plus years of corporate environment, being in corporate America, in IT, moved from many departments into product development and all that stuff. And while it was amazing, work from home, 10 years, amazing job, making money, I kept asking myself, or I kept asking, what is it that I'm meant to do? Because my life has been all about healing. And when everybody was shutting down and during COVID times, 2020, that's when I was praying, and this was one of the things that came in. And October 2020 is when I started to compose a plan for this. And it was not an easy thing, right? I had to come up with what is the investment needed? Where are we going to get the investment from? And then it was long hours, 14, 15 hours a day, because you're still working your daytime job. You're still taking care of the kids. And then coming up with this plan. And I love it when, I took the idea to my husband, took the idea to my family in India. And I said, put holes in it because that helps me become more solid, right? Because then I know everything has been taken care of. Like, come on, beat it up and beat me up too, as a matter of fact, because that will make me, because when you open up a business, it is not a switch and done. It takes a lot more effort and a lot more faith and compassion and a lot more dedication to keep it going and make it going. And that's what, going back to that, it was my calling. And, it certainly has been, it feels like having triplets sometimes. So, that's where it started. And Float is what I originally wanted to open. And that was my idea. So I was looking at one real estate, which was, it was a 2,000 square foot building spot. And as I thought about applying for it, it was already gone. So the next one available was 3,000 square foot. I'm like, okay, 3,000 square foot, I'm just not going to do Float. There's got to be other things that come up. And things started to just fall in. People kept saying, again, I take advice from a lot of people, did a little bit of market research myself. And they said, hey, I'm going an hour away for this, or this place hasn't been open for this long, and it would be great to have halotherapy around us. And then model shifted too during COVID time. There were a lot of places offering halotherapy, salt therapy, an hour away from our place, and they were big rooms with salt caves and all around. Model shifted with COVID, where people just wanted to be around the people that they wanted to go with. So our sessions here are all private sessions. It's only up to 4 people. It's smaller room. You still get the same therapy. And I just kept on working with what was coming my way.
Awesome.
Red light was another one that was not even in my list. And there was this one machine that I was looking to procure, and it was 8 months delay. Wow. Supply chain was a big issue at that time. And this person, the seller, was like, hey, I don't have this, but I have this with this. Would you be interested? I'm like, you know what? If it's meant to be, it will be. Give me more information. So I went with the flow with some of it too, and it's paying off in its own way, because you can't just, if one door closes, another one just opens up on its own.
For sure. I totally agree with that.
Sometimes it's decided by powers above us that we just got to accept it and move forward with it.
Cool.
How many floats do you have?
We have 4 float rooms. So we've had couples doing double couple dates and coming in. And then they all go for their individual floats. They come out, they sit outside, have a cup of tea, and just chill.
Tea. Yes, that sounds awesome also.
Very cool. We're getting played out here, Divya. So thanks for coming on. Again, I would highly recommend you're looking into self-care. You want to get yourself right. DivineFloatSpa.com. Divya, thanks again.
Absolutely.
It was great having you.
Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of Tool Time Real Estate Radio. You want to follow, again, it's DivineFloatSpa.com. That's where you can get in touch with Divya's company. You can follow Sarah at Ty_TyTime on Instagram. You can follow Stacey at @2 Mitchko. You can follow me at Tom Toole 3rd, and we're streaming live every single week on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. That's it for this week's episode. We'll see you next time on WWDB 860 AM.